It begins with a single shadow. A pale sky hangs over the earth, silent and cold. Then one black speck appears in the distance. Then another. Then another. Soon, the sky begins to bleed black. A murder of crows moves like ink through water, circling, gathering, swallowing the light. Their wings cut across the sun until the day becomes a premature twilight. To some, this is a bad omen. To others, it is a warning. But perhaps it is something deeper. A prophecy. For centuries, the crow has been one of the most misunderstood birds in spiritual history. We see its black feathers and think of death. We hear its rough call and think of misfortune. We watch it gather in graveyards, on rooftops, and in leafless trees, and we imagine that it belongs only to the dark. But the crow is not simply a symbol of death. The crow is a keeper of the sacred law, a watcher at the threshold, a guardian of the veil between the seen and the unseen. It lives between worlds, the world of flesh and the world of spirit, the world of noise and the world of silence, the world we pretend to understand and the deeper world that keeps its secrets. When a crow lands near you and looks directly into your eyes, it does not feel random. It feels as if something ancient has noticed you, something patient, something intelligent, something that sees through the mask. In Norse mythology, Odin, the Allfather, was accompanied by two ravens, Huginn and Muninn. Thought and memory. Every morning, they flew across the world of matter, gathering knowledge from every battlefield, forest, kingdom, and hidden road. Every night, they returned to Odin and whispered what they had seen. This is not just a story about birds. It is a story about the higher mind. Thought flies forward. Memory flies backward. Together, they bring truth. Huginn is the part of us that searches, questions, and imagines. Muninn is the part that remembers, connects, and understands. Without thought, we cannot explore. Without memory, we cannot become wise. The crow teaches that wisdom requires distance. You cannot see the whole pattern when you are trapped inside the storm. You must rise above it. You must look from the height of the wing. But not all wisdom comes peacefully. Sometimes, wisdom arrives through chaos. In many Native American traditions, Raven is a creator and a trickster. He steals, laughs, breaks rules, and changes the world through cleverness. In one great story, Raven releases the sun from a hidden box, bringing light to a world trapped in darkness. He does not do it politely. He does it through mischief. That is the lesson of the trickster. Spiritual growth does not always arrive through comfort, silence, and perfect discipline. Sometimes, it arrives through disruption, through mistakes, through reversals, through the moment when life breaks the rules you thought were permanent. The crow and the raven teach that chaos is not always the enemy of the soul. Sometimes, chaos is the doorway. Sometimes, the spirit needs a trickster to break open the cage. And then there is the color black. What does black truly mean? In many traditions, black is fear. It is associated with death, endings, shadows, and the unknown. But spiritually, black is not evil. Black is the fertile darkness. It is the womb of the universe. Before a seed opens, it waits in darkness. Before a child is born, it grows in darkness. Before the stars existed, there was a great cosmic darkness holding the possibility of everything. Black is not the absence of life. It is the place where life begins before it becomes visible. The crow wears this color like a sacred robe. Its feathers may look black from a distance, but up close they shimmer with blue, violet, and hidden light. This is the secret of the shadow. It is never empty. It contains colors that only appear when you are brave enough to look closely. This is why the crow walks with witches, shamans, seers, and those who live close to mystery. It is not because the crow is evil. It is because the crow is comfortable where humans are afraid to look. It walks through cemeteries. It stands on crossroads. It watches storms arrive before we feel the first drop of rain. It feeds where life and death meet. It understands transition. The crow sees through glamour, through performance, through the illusions humans build around themselves. It knows that beauty can hide fear. It knows that speech can hide truth. It knows that what is buried is often more powerful than what is shown. To have a crow spirit is to carry strong intuition. It means you sense what is not being said. You feel changes before they happen. You notice the hidden pattern beneath the obvious event. Crow people are shapeshifters of the soul. They know how to adapt, pivot, survive, and reinvent themselves. They are not afraid to move between identities, roles, and worlds. They understand that the self is not a prison. It is a form that can change. But the crow totem also demands courage. Because the crow does not only show you the future, it shows you your shadow. The parts of yourself you hide, the anger you deny, the grief you bury, the truth you avoid, the power you are afraid to claim. The crow does not ask you to fear your darkness. It asks you to enter it with open eyes. A crow is also a creature of astonishing intelligence. It drops nuts onto roads and waits for cars to crack them open. It remembers human faces. It solves problems. It uses tools. It watches, calculates, and adapts. This intelligence is part of its spiritual symbolism. The crow does not survive by strength alone. It survives by awareness. It studies the world. It reads movement. It learns from danger. It remembers what others forget. Some crows gather around their dead. Scientists may call it learning behavior, a way to understand danger. But spiritually, it looks like a funeral, or at least a recognition that something important has passed from one state to another. The crow understands transition. A life lost is not ignored. It becomes information. It becomes memory. It becomes warning. In this way, the crow is both witness and teacher. It tells us pay attention to endings. They are not empty. They carry messages. The crow also teaches adaptation. It builds nests from twigs, wire, plastic, and whatever the world leaves behind. Nothing is useless to the crow. Trash becomes structure. Ruins become thrones. Wastelands become homes. This is a powerful spiritual lesson. Your life may not give you perfect materials. It may give you broken pieces, strange timing, painful memories, and unexpected loss. But the crow says build anyway. Make magic out of what remains. It also teaches community. A single crow may look like a lonely shadow, but a murder of crows is a tribe of protection. They warn each other, defend each other, chase away hawks together. Their strength is not only individual, it is collective. The shadow is not always solitude. Sometimes, the shadow is where the tribe gathers. And yet, the crow is playful. It slides on snow. It steals shiny things. It mimics voices. It turns survival into curiosity. This matters because the shadow is not only pain. The shadow is also play, instinct, wildness, and freedom from human seriousness. To integrate the crow is to integrate both light and dark. Not to become gloomy. Not to worship fear. But to become whole. The crow perched on a church tower watches human ritual from above. The bell rings, but the bird remains still. It is the objective observer of history. Empires rise. Kings fall. Statues crumble. But the crow remains, vibrant and alert. Power is a shadow. Wisdom is the light inside it. At the crossroads, the crow becomes a guide. One path leads deeper into illusion. One path leads toward truth. The crow does not choose for you. It only appears when the choice can no longer be avoided. If the crow keeps appearing in your life, ask yourself, what truth am I refusing to see? What old identity is ready to die? What hidden wisdom is trying to rise from the dark? The crow does not come to comfort the part of you that wants to sleep. It comes to awaken the part of you that already knows. It tells you to sharpen your discernment. Cut through lies. Listen beneath words. Feel the world before you see it. Trust the intelligence of the body. The instinct of the soul. The quiet warning that arrives before the storm. And when the darkness comes, do not run from it too quickly. Be still in your mystery. A black feather floating on dark water may look like nothing. But watch the ripples. Even the smallest sign can move the subconscious. Even the quietest message can open a hidden door. The crow is not your enemy. It is not your friend in the simple human sense either. It is a guide, a mirror, a messenger, a question with wings. It asks whether you are ready to see beyond appearances. It asks whether you can face the unknown without turning it into evil. It asks whether you can recognize wisdom when it arrives dressed in shadow. The prophecy of the crow is not written in words. It is written in silence, flight, memory, and black feathers shining with hidden light. When the murder of crows rises again, the sky clears behind them. The sun returns. The world is not destroyed. It has only been darkened long enough for you to notice what you usually ignore. That is the gift of the crow. It brings the shadow so that wisdom can begin. So do not fear the dark. The dark is not the end. It is the beginning. Walk in wisdom. Walk in shadow. And when the crow calls from the edge of the unseen, listen carefully. The prophecy may be for you.